My friend, there is a prayer that never fails. It is not bound by religion, ritual, or words. It is the oldest prayer, the one whispered before time began. And tonight, I will teach you how to use it. This secret prayer has nothing to do with pleading or repeating holy phrases. True prayer is union. It's the merging of your desire with the feeling of its fulfillment. When you pray rightly, you are not asking for something. You are becoming it. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that what you seek has already come to pass. Don't imagine the process. Imagine the result. Don't ask how. Feel the end. Do you want wealth? Then feel the ease and peace that comes with abundance. Do you want love? Then feel the joy of being loved deeply. Do you want healing? Then feel the wholeness of perfect health. You see, the world outside you only mirrors what you've accepted inside you. When you change your feeling, you change your fate. This is the sacred secret. You must feel the wish fulfilled. Let your imagination carry you into that state. A state where your dream is already real. When you feel it deeply enough, something within you shifts. You no longer wait for it. You expect it. You know it. And soon, the outer world will rearrange itself to match your new inner reality. The prayer that always works is silent, still, and powerful. It is not spoken from the lips. It is declared from the heart. When you enter the silence and live in the feeling of the answered prayer, you set a law in motion that cannot fail. But remember, this persistence is the proof of faith. You cannot pray once and then doubt 1,000 times. Remain faithful to your inner vision. Live from it, breathe from it, sleep in it. Until one day what was unseen becomes visible, what was imagined becomes tangible, and what was a dream becomes your life. When it does, give thanks. For gratitude seals the prayer. It says to the universe, it is done. My friend, the secret prayer that always works is not a formula. It's a state of consciousness. Assume it, feel it, live from it. For what you dare to imagine and feel as true will inevitably manifest in your world. Prayer is not about asking, pleading, or waiting for something to be granted by a power outside of you. True prayer is the silent art of becoming what you seek. It is not spoken through words, it is experienced through feeling. The moment you assume the state of your desire as already fulfilled, you have entered into the essence of real prayer. We have been taught to pray as though we are small, separate, and powerless beings, hoping that some distant force will hear our requests and decide whether or not we are worthy. But the truth is far greater. The divine does not choose favorites, it mirrors your state of consciousness. Whatever you embody inwardly, it must reflect outwardly. That is the unbreakable law of life. When you pray from lack, you are affirming lack. When you pray from desperation, you are confirming that you are without. You may cry, you may beg, but the vibration behind your words declares one thing: I don't have it. And life, ever faithful, echoes that feeling right back to you. But when you shift your inner posture, when you pray not as a beggar, but as one who already is, you cross the bridge between wanting and having. Prayer, then, is not the act of reaching out, it's the act of moving within. It's a journey from thought to realization, from hope to embodiment. To pray rightly, you must become one with the state you desire. Feel it real. Speak to yourself as if your wish has already been fulfilled. Let every inner conversation reflect that reality. Imagine a person who wishes for success. If they pray by saying, "Please make me successful," their prayer is steeped in the assumption that they are not yet what they seek. But if they silently affirm, "I am successful," and feel the deep satisfaction of that truth, their consciousness aligns with the state of success itself. And since all outer forms are only shadows of inner states, the world will soon reshape to confirm that inner conviction. This is the secret that many overlook, the power of assumption. To assume is to claim inwardly, to accept as real before the evidence appears. Every answered prayer begins with an inner acceptance, not an outer action. You are not waiting for the universe to respond. The universe is waiting for you to believe. Every true prayer begins in imagination. Close your eyes and see it. Feel it, touch it with your inner senses, live from it. For the moment you do, you have already received it in the invisible realm. What exists invisibly must eventually appear visibly, if only you remain faithful to that feeling. Real prayer does not depend on time or repetition. It depends on identity. You cannot pray effectively for something you secretly believe is out of reach. To pray rightly is to declare inwardly, I am already what I seek. That declaration, when felt deeply, is creative. It sets unseen forces into motion. So when you pray, do not look to the heavens, look within. The divine lives not above you, but as you. The moment you claim the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you awaken that creative power. You become the vessel through which the unseen becomes seen. Let your prayer be silent confidence, not anxious words. Let it be a still knowing, not a desperate plea. Feel it done. Rest in that state, for the prayer that is felt as real is already answered. You do not need to chase, convince, or persuade. You only need to become. When you assume the state of your fulfilled desire and live from that awareness, the outer world has no choice but to echo your inner conviction. So remember this truth: prayer is not begging, it is becoming. You are not calling to something beyond you, you are awakening what already lives within you. Feel it real, live as though it is done, and the unseen hand of creation will bring your inner world into form. The world you see before you is not a random series of events, nor is it shaped by luck, fate, or external forces beyond your control. The world is a mirror, a perfect reflection of your inner state of being. Every circumstance, every relationship, every success or struggle you encounter is the outpicturing of what you have accepted as true within yourself. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. Your outer world is nothing more than a projection of your inner consciousness. Like a mirror, it has no power of its own. It simply reflects what stands before it. If you smile, the mirror smiles back. If you frown, the image returns the same expression. So it is with life. The conditions of your outer world reveal the condition of your inner world, your beliefs, your feelings, your assumptions. When you understand this, you cease to be a victim of circumstances. You begin to see that every event is an invitation to look deeper within yourself. The financial struggle, the unkind words, the opportunities missed, they are not punishments, but reflections. They reveal what you have unconsciously entertained as true. And the moment you change your inner assumption, the mirror of life must change its reflection. It is not the outer that must first improve, it is the inner. People often spend their energy trying to fix the mirror, not realizing the image they dislike is only a shadow of themselves. You can polish the glass, rearrange the surroundings, or even shatter the reflection. But if your consciousness remains unchanged, the same picture will reappear in another form. If you wish for love, then embody love. If you desire peace, then cultivate peace within. If you long for abundance, you must first feel abundant in thought and emotion. The seed of every experience begins within the soil of consciousness. Whatever you plant there through repeated thought and feeling will soon bloom in the garden of your life. The law is simple yet profound: as within, so without. When you hold a belief in limitation, life will echo limitation. When you dwell in fear, the world will mirror situations that justify fear. But when you dwell in faith, gratitude, and quiet confidence, life rises to meet that vibration. It brings people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect your inner certainty. This is not a call to blame yourself for unwanted experiences. It is a call to reclaim your power. You are the author of your reality, and your thoughts are the pen. Every assumption you persist in writes the next chapter of your life. The outer world simply plays the script you've composed in imagination. If you wish to change the story, change the script. Begin by withdrawing attention from appearances that contradict your desire. Stop feeding the illusion that circumstances hold authority over you. Instead, turn inward and revise the scene. See yourself as you wish to be. Feel it as though it were true now. The mirror of life cannot help but catch up to the new image you are holding within. Many people pray for change while continuing to nurture the same old feelings of doubt, fear, and unworthiness. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But creation responds to your feeling, not your words. When you dare to feel differently about yourself and your world, the reflection must alter. It is an immutable law. So, if you wish for a new reflection, do not curse the mirror. Bless it, for it shows you exactly where your consciousness stands. Use it as a tool of awareness, a divine feedback system designed to guide you toward greater realization. The truth is, Nothing outside of you has the power to define you. You are the cause, the world is the effect. You are the sculptor, the world is your clay. You are the dreamer. Life is your dream. And when you awaken to this realization, when you truly grasp that the world reflects your inner condition, you hold the key to freedom. No one and nothing can stop your transformation once you decide to change the image you hold within. For the world is not against you, nor is it for you. It simply mirrors you. Change within, and the world cannot help but rearrange itself to match the new you. That is the eternal law of reflection, the secret bridge between consciousness and creation. There is a power within you that responds not to your words, your struggles, or even your hopes, but to your feeling. The universe is not moved by effort or desperation. It listens only to the silent vibration of what you feel to be true. Feeling is the secret language of creation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between imagination and manifestation. You may say all the right affirmations, visualize with intensity, and repeat endless prayers, but if your feelings contradict your words, your feelings will win every time. For feeling is the substance of reality. Words are mere shadows unless they carry emotional conviction behind them. When you feel the end as real, when you enter into the emotion of the wish fulfilled, you are communicating directly with the creative power of the universe. You are saying, without words, this is who I am, this is my reality. And because the universe mirrors your inner vibration, it begins to shape your outer world accordingly. Most people pray with effort. They plead, they strain, they struggle to make something happen. But that struggle itself is a feeling of lack, of separation, of not yet. And life, ever faithful, mirrors back that same vibration of waiting, longing, and unfulfilled desire. The harder they try, the further their desire seems to drift away. But when you learn to rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as a fantasy, but as an inner certainty, something shifts. Your consciousness moves from wanting to having, from hoping to being. This is the essence of true prayer, the quiet assumption that it is already done. You must feel the reality of your desire with such intensity that it no longer feels like imagination. It feels like memory. Let it become so natural, so familiar, that you no longer question it. You do not have to force this feeling, you only need to relax into it. Feel it lightly, joyfully, peacefully. For what you can feel as true within will soon become true without. Imagine for a moment that your desire has already come to pass. How would you feel? What thoughts would fill your mind? What relief, gratitude, or joy would you experience if it were so? Enter into that state now. Let the feeling of fulfillment flood your mind and body until you can sense its reality so vividly that the outer world seems secondary. This is the creative act. You are impressing upon the unseen field of consciousness the vibration of your fulfilled desire. And because the universe must express what is impressed, your outer world will inevitably rearrange itself to match the inner feeling you sustain. Understand this: you do not attract what you want, you attract what you feel. Wanting implies lack, feeling implies possession. When you feel rich, life brings experiences that confirm your richness. When you feel loved, love surrounds you. When you feel successful, success seeks you. Feeling is the language that the universe cannot misinterpret. It doesn't hear your words, it reads your energy. It feels your certainty, your peace, your knowing. And when your inner vibration matches the frequency of your desire, manifestation is not a matter of if, it becomes a matter of when. So when you pray, do not beg, do not strain, do not wait for evidence. Instead, close your eyes and feel it done. Let the feeling of completion settle in your heart. Rest in that silent assurance. When the feeling becomes natural, the manifestation becomes inevitable. And if ever doubt returns, do not fight it. Simply return to the feeling, the inner knowing that it is already yours. You will find that the feeling itself begins to sustain you, to carry you, to gently guide your steps in alignment with your desire. For feeling is not merely emotion, it is creative power in motion. It is the silent command that molds reality into form. Every great creation, every answered prayer, was first felt deeply before it appeared outwardly. Therefore, guard your feelings as you would guard treasure. They are the seeds from which your life grows. Speak the language of fulfillment, and the universe will echo it back in form. For the truth is simple yet profound. Feeling is the secret language of creation, and once you learn to speak it fluently, there is nothing you cannot manifest. There exists a sacred place within every human being, a silent sanctuary untouched by the noise of the outer world. It is not found in temples of stone or churches built by human hands. It lies within you in the secret chamber of imagination. This is the inner altar, where all true prayer is offered and every destiny is conceived. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the workshop of creation, the divine mind in motion, shaping unseen substance into visible form. Everything that has ever existed, every invention, every work of art, every miracle, first lived in imagination before it appeared in the world of matter. What you dare to imagine and feel as real within will sooner or later crystallize into your outer experience. When you close your eyes and withdraw from the senses, you enter the realm where true prayer happens. In that inner stillness, you are free from the limitations of time and circumstance. You are no longer bound by what is, you are free to create what can be. This is not escape, it is dominion. For the imagination is the creative center of your being, the altar where you meet the infinite. When you pray, do not look outward for signs. Instead, enter within and live from the end. See yourself as already in possession of your desire. Walk, talk, and breathe in that inner world as though it were your present reality. Feel the joy of completion, the satisfaction of your dream fulfilled. When you can live there vividly enough, you are performing the most sacred act known to man, communion with the creative power itself. This inner act is far greater than any ritual or spoken word. For when you imagine with faith and feeling, you are not pretending. You are participating in creation. You are impressing the unseen fabric of reality with a new pattern of being. And because the outer world must always conform to the inner state, the image held persistently in imagination becomes flesh. The secret is to live from the end, not merely to think of it. Thinking of your desire keeps it at a distance. Living from it brings it near. You must occupy the state of the fulfilled wish, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The moment you do, a subtle shift occurs. You no longer seek your desire, you are your desire. You no longer hope, you know. This is why imagination is called the inner altar. It is the meeting place between the human and the divine, where thought and feeling merge to give birth to new realities. Every time you enter that sacred space and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are offering yourself, your belief, your awareness, as the sacrifice. You are laying down the old identity and taking up the new. Do this with reverence, not effort. Enter quietly, without strain, without fear. Close your eyes to the outer world and open them inwardly. Picture the scene that implies your dream has already come true. See it clearly. Feel it deeply. Hear the sounds. Smell the air, sense the reality of it. The more vivid the imagination, the stronger the impression upon the subconscious mind, and the stronger the impression, the sooner it must express itself in the world of form. Never underestimate this sacred faculty. Imagination is the womb of creation. It is the divine power clothed in human thought. Everything you hold within it is a seed destined to grow. Whether you imagine consciously or unconsciously, you are always creating. The only question is, are you creating deliberately or by default? Choose now to use your imagination consciously. Make it your altar of creation. Return to it daily, morning and night, and live from the end with unwavering faith. See only what you wish to see, and refuse to dwell on appearances that deny your desire. In time, the invisible will become visible. The dream will harden into fact, and you will realize that heaven was never a distant place. It was always within you, waiting for you to imagine it into being. For imagination is not just a tool, it is your sacred power. It is the altar upon which you meet the infinite, and from which you shape the world in your image. So close your eyes, step within, and create. For imagination is the inner altar where God and man become one. Faith is not a fleeting moment of belief. It is not an emotion that stirs briefly and fades when the winds of circumstance blow. True faith is persistence, the steady, unwavering conviction that what you have assumed within must one day appear without. Faith is the quiet confidence that creation is already finished, and that your task is only to remain loyal to the unseen until it becomes seen. When you first assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you set an invisible law in motion. You plant a seed in the garden of consciousness. But just as a seed takes time to germinate beneath the soil, your desire takes time to manifest in form. The moment you begin to doubt, question, or despair, you uproot that seed and interrupt its growth. Doubt dissolves creation. Faith sustains it. Persistence, therefore, is not struggle. It is the calm, deliberate act of remaining faithful to your inner vision regardless of outer evidence. It is holding to the feeling of the fulfilled desire, even when the senses scream otherwise. It is saying within yourself, "It is already done," and living from that knowing day after day until reality concedes. Many people pray once and then immediately contradict their prayer through worry, fear, or impatience. They declare something true in imagination but deny it through their reactions to life. Yet the creative power listens not to their words but to their dominant state. The persistent feeling of faith, not the fleeting thought, is what molds reality. To persist in faith is to live as though the unseen were already here. It is to carry within you a sense of completion, even when the evidence is invisible. It is to walk by inner sight, not by outer appearance. For the world you see is always one step behind your consciousness. It is the echo, not the cause. Persistence does not mean force or strain. It means quiet constancy. Think of the sun that rises every morning, not in haste, not in fear, but in absolute certainty of its own power. So too must you hold your vision steady and sure, knowing that every act of inner faith moves mountains unseen. The test of faith is not when everything appears easy, but when nothing seems to be happening. In those moments, persistence is your strength. The outer world may show no sign of change, but the unseen reality is already forming, like roots spreading silently beneath the soil. Your desire is taking shape beyond your vision. You must not abandon your assumption in the darkness, for that is when the miracle is born. When everything tempts you to give up, stand still within yourself and remember creation is finished. The outcome exists now. Your persistence merely draws it into view. Faith is the bridge between imagination and manifestation, but persistence is the crossing. Each moment you choose to remain faithful to your vision, you are walking across that bridge. Every time you resist the urge to doubt, you take another step toward the visible fulfillment of your prayer. So, persist. Persist not with tension, but with peace. Persist not through effort, but through inner assurance. Know that what you have felt real within must one day stand before you. When fear whispers, answer with conviction. When delay appears, respond with patience. When doubt knocks, remind yourself, it is already mine. And soon, you will notice the first signs. A conversation, a coincidence, an unexpected opportunity. The world will begin to shift in ways you could never have orchestrated. That is the power of faith in motion. Persistence is not repeating your prayer over and over. It is living as though it were answered. It is choosing again and again to believe in the reality of the unseen. The longer you remain in that state, the more solid it becomes, until it hardens into fact. Remember this truth: what you persist in imagining and feeling as true must one day appear in your life. The law of consciousness cannot fail, for consciousness is all there is. So hold fast to your inner vision. Let faith be your foundation and persistence your proof. For when you persist in the state of the wish fulfilled, you are not waiting for the miracle. You are walking in it. Soon your persistence will reveal its reward: the invisible made visible, the imagined made real, and the prayer answered through the quiet power of unwavering faith. There is a sacred moment in every act of creation, the moment when you release your desire with a heart full of gratitude, knowing it is already done. Gratitude is the invisible seal that completes the circle of manifestation. It is the silent declaration that says to the universe, "It is finished." Once you have imagined your desire and felt it as real, your work is not to question how or when it will appear, but to give thanks as though it already has. Gratitude is the fragrance of fulfillment. It is not a response to evidence, it is the evidence of inner knowing. When you feel grateful before the outer world gives you a reason, you are demonstrating perfect faith. Most people reserve gratitude for after the miracle appears, but the wise know that true gratitude comes before the manifestation. It is the invisible proof of belief. It says, I trust the process. I know my prayer is answered. And that knowing, that quiet confidence, seals the manifestation as surely as a king's stamp seals a decree. Gratitude aligns your heart with the frequency of completion. It lifts you above fear and doubt, dissolving the vibration of lack. When you give thanks sincerely, you are no longer asking, you are receiving. You are no longer a seeker, you are the possessor. Gratitude transforms your state of being from one of wanting to one of having, and life must reflect that shift. Imagine a gardener who plants a seed and then gives thanks for the harvest before the sprout even breaks the ground. That gardener understands the law of life, that the seed will do its work unseen. Likewise, when you give thanks in advance, you are affirming that your creation is already taking root in the unseen realm of consciousness. You no longer need to dig up the soil in doubt. You rest in the assurance that the invisible is becoming visible. Gratitude is not merely polite acknowledgement, it is spiritual confirmation. It says, I know that what I have asked for is mine. This feeling of certainty is what locks the desire into your reality. It completes the process that began with imagination, nurtured by feeling and strengthened by persistence. Gratitude is the final act, the closing of the inner prayer. To practice this, begin each day and end each night with the feeling of thankfulness, not for what is coming, but for what already is. Say to yourself quietly, thank you, it is done. Feel the relief of completion. Feel the peace that comes from knowing that creation is finished and your part is fulfilled. This inner thank you is a vibration of harmony with the source itself. When you live in a state of gratitude, you become magnetic to blessings. Life seems to flow effortlessly, people appear at the right time, doors open without struggle. It is not luck, it is resonance. You are vibrating at the frequency of abundance, love and fulfillment, and the universe cannot help but mirror it back to you. Even in moments of challenge, gratitude remains your anchor. Instead of resisting what appears wrong, give thanks that life is guiding you toward a greater understanding. Gratitude transforms even difficulty into growth, because it shifts your attention from fear to faith, and faith is the soil where miracles bloom. Remember, the one who is grateful before the manifestation does not wait for proof. They become the proof. Their inner state declares completion long before the world catches up. That declaration is what seals the creation. So when you have felt your desire real, do not chase it, question it, or force it. Simply say within, thank you. It is finished. Rest in that feeling. Smile as though the gift were already in your hands. Because in truth, it already is. It merely awaits its appointed hour to be revealed. Let gratitude be your final prayer. Let it be the soft whisper that closes the circle and completes the work. For gratitude is the signature of faith, the sacred seal that tells the universe, I have received. And when you dwell in that spirit of thanksgiving, creation responds in kind. Life unfolds in harmony with your gratitude, blessings multiply, and miracles become your natural rhythm. My friend, now you know the secret. Prayer is not a ritual of words, but an awakening of awareness. It is not about asking for something outside of you to intervene. It is the realization that the creative power lies within you. To pray is to assume, to feel, to become. To change your world, you must first change your inner state. For life is but a mirror, faithfully reflecting the contents of your consciousness. When you understand this, you cease to beg and begin to create. You now hold the key, the secret prayer that always works. When you enter imagination, feel the wish fulfilled, persist in that feeling, and seal it with gratitude. You are performing the most sacred act known to man. You are speaking the language of creation itself, and the universe must obey. Every fulfilled desire, every answered prayer, every miracle you have ever heard of began the same way, through an inner assumption so real that it could not help but become fact. Your imagination is your temple, your feeling is your prayer, your persistence is your faith, and your gratitude is your seal. So tonight, walk in the quiet confidence that what you have felt as true within will soon stand before you. Doubt nothing, fear nothing, for the law of consciousness is exact and unfailing. You do not need to wait, to beg, or to strive. You need only to believe, to assume, and to give thanks. Creation is finished, and what you claim within will be yours without. So go forth and pray the only true prayer. There is life as though it were already done. And when your desire appears, as surely it will, remember this truth: it was not granted to you from outside, but expressed through you from within. That is the secret prayer that never fails. Closing, thank you for allowing me to share this truth with you. A truth that has the power to transform your life completely. May you walk in faith, dwell in imagination, and rest in gratitude. May you live each day knowing that your word, your feeling, and your assumption are divine instruments of creation. The secret prayer is yours now. Use it wisely, live it daily, and let your world become the proof of your inner knowing. Thank you, and may your every prayer be fulfilled through the power of your own awakened imagination.